All right, everybody, I think we're live. Hey, everyone. Welcome to this week's virtual write-in. My name is Catherine. I'm the communications manager at NaNoWriMo, and I am so happy to see y'all here. We've got, I decided, so I've been making this Halloween costume for the past like 2 years. And I finally finished it the other day, so I thought I'd wear it today to show it off since I probably won't be on screen next week. But this is my Halloween costume. I'm Tristan from Stardust, if anybody's a Neil Gaiman fan. But yeah, I didn't know where else I was going to wear it, to be totally honest. I was like, I'm going to wear it to this virtual write-in. But hey, if people want to write into the chat, actually I'm probably going to have to take out this coat. It's a little warm in here today. But if people want to write in the chat where they're writing in from today or where they're viewing from today, that would be great. I always love seeing where people are from around the world. We've got Blobby here in the background. He's been hanging out at my house for the past few months while we've been not going into the NaNoWriMo office. So yay, thanks. I'm glad people like the costume. Like, literally, I rewatched Stardust like 2 years ago and I was like, this would be fun. And it took me that long to make the entire thing. So cool. We've got people from Belgium, from Austria, Alberta, North California, Arizona, Plutonia, wherever that is, Syracuse. Awesome. An Alabama person. I actually grew up in Alabama, so Alabama represent. Glasgow. Awesome. Ooh, Carl says it's the 10-year Nano anniversary for me. 2011 was my first time giving it a go, and I was successful that year. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm so curious to know, like, how many of you, like, how long you've been participating in NaNoWriMo, how many of you are like long-time people, and how many are just like, I don't know, I saw this, I thought I'd try it out for the first time. Feel free to drop that in the chat as well. Awesome. Yeah, so usually these virtual write-ins are going to be led by our interns, Magna and Nautica. They couldn't make it today, so I'm stepping in, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to be here. I really enjoy doing these, so I'm really happy to be here. If you've never done a virtual write-in before, basically this is going to be an hour-long live stream, so we'll talk about some writing stuff. You can chat with people in the chat box, but we'll also be doing writing prompts, like timed writing sprints, so usually for about 5 or 10 minutes, where I'll give you an optional writing prompt and you just try to write as many words as you can within that time period, and we kind of see what we can make. Bree says this is my 4th or 5th year. Lynn says my 10th year. Steph's first time. T. Irvine, first timer. Awesome. Man, this is great. 3rd year of Nano for Coffee Queen. Nick C says 6 years, finally finished last year for the first time. That's awesome. I've done NaNoWriMo off and on since I was in high school, and I've only actually gotten to 50,000 words in November once. So that was a couple years ago. I don't know that this year is going to happen again, but I always try every year, and that's what counts, right? So awesome. Oh yay, it's really great to see everyone. Carla says first year, so excited. Great. All right, so since we're all here and it looks like we're getting excited, getting ready to write, let's go ahead and start off with a quick writing sprint. Actually, I'm gonna have to find my phone here so that I can set the timer. So yeah, the first one we'll do is a little bit shorter and kind of free form. You don't have to use the writing prompt if you don't want to, if it doesn't work for what you're writing or planning or doing in your story right now. But it can be a useful sort of like jumping off point if you don't know where to start. So we're just gonna start. I'm gonna throw out some words and set a timer for 5 minutes and try to write a scene or a sentence or a paragraph, whatever, using one of the words that I give to you. I don't know, extra points if you use all of them, I suppose. But the words are firefly, dream, sand, monster, and oasis. And I'll drop those in the chat as well. And our intern Nautica put this together, and I think they were inspired by Dune coming out today with some of these prompts. So, all right, I will put those in the chat, and I will set a timer for 5 minutes. Here we go. All right, so once again, the words are firefly, dream, sand, monster, and oasis. I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes, and let's write. Got about a minute left in this prompt. All right, time is up. Go ahead and wrap up what you're writing if you just need to finish up a sentence. And feel free to put in the chat either how you used those words from the prompt, if you used them, or the number of words that you wrote during that sprint. It'd be great to hear. Time's up in the chat as well for people who are paying more attention there. All right. Also, before we get into it, I just want to say, please nobody spoil the new Dune movie for me. I haven't seen it yet, but it is exciting that it's coming out today. So I have read all the books. I just haven't seen the movie yet. So we'll hopefully it's good. Well, awesome. Jenny says I used all the words. And Rebecca also used all the prompt words and got 309 total. Kara said I spent the sprint getting my notes in order. That's, yeah, sometimes you just need to spend some time like, okay, how do these things actually go together? Ooh, Maya said I wrote a poem of 89 words. Judy used the words oasis and desert. King Starfish said 189 words and some dishes. So I'm imagining you like typing and then washing a dish and then typing and then washing a dish. Serena Campbell got 102 by hand. Nice. Sunai said 98 words and a little bit of backstory development using Firefly. Nice. Man, these are great. A lot of people are using the Oasis prompt, I think. Oh, lovely. Awesome. I'm very curious, like looking at these awesome things that you guys wrote from the prompt and the words that you used. I'm very curious how many people actually know yet what they're going to write for NaNoWriMo, and how many people don't have any idea yet what they're going to write, because it's somehow very soon. I don't know how this happened, but somehow it's almost November already, which is like awesome and exciting, but also a little bit terrifying. Yeah, I'm curious how many people have like, they know what they're going to write, what story they're going to work on, or if they've planned it out a little bit. Some people are like, I don't know, I'm just going to sit down in front of my computer, the blank page on November 1st and start writing and see what happens. I was talking about this. We had like an LGBTQ Zoom hangout yesterday, and I was talking about this a bit there. But my birthday is actually on November 1st, and so it's so funny because I've been like, for my work, I've been doing this intense countdown. Like, okay, NaNoWriMo is coming. Like November is going to be here, and I just did not put two and two together that also meant that my birthday is coming up. And I just realized that the other day. I was like, oh right, the start of November and my birthday are the same day. So that was a fun little realization I had this week. Mark Crippen says, I have a firm idea and a list of beats. Nice. Judy Nichols says, I'm going to be a NaNoWriMo this year, finish my novel and get a good start on a new project. Angela says, I'm working on the same novel as last year. I've changed the plot drastically. Jenny says, I have a story idea and a main character. I haven't plotted it out yet. That's great. Looks like a lot of you have like ideas for what you're gonna write, which is a good place to be in. It's a good place to start. Oh, CB394 says, my aunt and cousin have the same birthday, November 16th. That's also my dad's birthday. So happy November birthdays, I guess. EO says, I know what I'm going to write and I'm just in the middle of planning right now. Should be about ready for kickoff. Awesome. David Truesdale says, I have a good idea of what I want to write. Just need to come up with names for people and places seems to be the hardest thing for me. I really feel that. I have such a hard time coming up with names. So I know what project I want to work on for NaNoWriMo. I've gotten like the first 3-ish chapters of it written so far. So I want to keep working on the first draft of that one. But I'm having such a hard time with one of the main characters' names. I've changed it at least twice already, which is like find and replace, and like kept it there for about a week and like, no, that's not quite right. So I feel you on that. I have a really hard time coming up with names because part of my brain is like, names have to mean something, and the other part of my brain is like, just call them something. So yeah, I feel that. Awesome. So I have a little game that I thought we could play today. Speaking of like people planning and getting ready and thinking about what they're wanting to write about, um, I am not. I'm not a huge social media person, but I have been enjoying the like TikTok trend of people are like, are you this thing or this thing? So I thought it could be fun to do that today. And I don't have like, you know, high tech words that will appear on my screen, but I did write them down on a piece of paper. So if y'all want to just take a minute, I have some questions for you on kind of either or, like what you identify as with your writing. So the first one, and feel free to write in the chat what you which one you are. So the first one I have here, some people have been answering it already, but are you a planner, a pantser, or a plantser? So planners are people who like think about their story and like plan out all the different beats and scenes all the way through beforehand. And pantsers just right by the seat of their pants. And plantsers are somewhere in the middle where they like have an idea or they have some scenes in mind, but they don't have like a whole story Bible to put it all together yet. So planner, pantser, or plantser? I am definitely a pantser. I used to think I was a planner, but then I have to realize that I totally just fly by the seat of my pants. I put in a character recently that I was like, sure, this person should be here. Awesome. I got a lot of plantsers in the audience, it looks like. A lot of plantsers, a couple of planners. Man, where are my other pantsers at? Probably not here because it's before November. All right. Okay, so my second question is, do you write on a computer or do you handwrite or do you use a typewriter? I know there are a couple of people who do, or I don't know, some other form of writing that I didn't put on here, but that kind of seemed to me to be in the middle of like computer and handwriting. It's the technological journey. So computer, handwriting, or typewriter. I used to be entirely a handwriter, and I still do like my very first, usually the first page of a novel, I have to write it by hand, but computer is just so much faster for me, especially during NaNoWriMo. Oh man, we got a bunch of computer writers, a few handwriters. Oh, ATW 2006 says computer with typewriter sounding keyboard attached. That's cool. A few people use both computers and handwriting. Oh, Tracy says computer, hand, or cell phone. I'm very impressed by people who can write on their cell phones. It just takes me forever to type things out. Saya says, I have so many old stories written on napkins. Yes, I love that. All right, next question. So do you like to write with silence or with music or some other sound going on? I'm a little bit of both. Sometimes I'll just be writing and then I'll realize like 3 hours later, like, oh, there was no sound going on. Sometimes if I'm feeling a little bit stuck, I have a playlist of just like I think it's like you know, soft, no vocals indie music on Spotify or something. That's just something to go on in the background. And then other sounds could be like a cafe or like the washing machine going, or you know, your housemates talking in the background. Like, I don't know, I'm curious. Oh, Nicole says music or background noise TV. I'm very impressed. I just like, if a TV's on, I can't concentrate on anything else. So I'm impressed by that. Musical says lo-fi or classical music, but sometimes ASMR is nice. Angela Mermaid says I play coffee shop ambiance videos on YouTube. Oh, that's fun. Yosef and Grace and Bree and Vicky are all for silence. Great. We got some recommendations for like YouTube playlists for ambient sounds. That's really cool. Rainfall. Nice. Christina C. Booth says reality TV or bad movies, lol. All right. Okay, and then my last question for y'all is, are you doing a traditional NaNoWriMo 50,000 words, going for 50,000 words of a brand new project that you've never worked on before? That's like the OG traditional. Are you a rebel who's doing something completely different? Maybe you're setting your own goal for a different word count, or you're working on a screenplay or poetry, or like you're revising a novel that you've already worked before. And then I just put some question marks there, like, or do you not know what you're doing yet, or you're doing something else. I feel like I'm a little bit in the question mark category because I will be working, I'll be aiming for 50,000 words, and it'll be on a new project. I already have 3 chapters of it written, but I'm not going to count those words for November. So I think that's a little bit of a mystery to me. Right, we got some traditional. Kato says rebel. Here's 5 says traditional this year. Last year I continued my work in progress and finished it. Congratulations. Coffee Queen says traditional, I think. Crazy Foxy says traditional brand new project. Awesome. Grace Morledge says traditional if I can, but it's all question marks right now. So yeah, I feel that. Oh wow, Ashway says question mark, finishing 3 stories at once and writing up to 50,000 words altogether. Nice. Brienne says I might count my outline for November word count because it's so extensive. I feel that when you've done all that work and you're like, I really want this to count. Awesome. This is all great. Cool. Thank you for playing that game with me. I was so curious about what people are doing and where they're at right now. But let's go ahead. Speaking of writing, let's go ahead and move into our next writing prompt so we can get that practice in, get some of those words down. So this one will be for 10 minutes. And I was kind of playing off the like either or nature of the game. And I was, let's see, oh, right there it is. But yeah, so, you're kind of deciding like, oh, which way you want to go. So for this prompt, it's your character has to make a difficult decision. So this can be something big, like whether to press the big red button that ends the world, or it can be something personal, like what should they wear on their first date with a new person. So yeah, just writing a scene where you pick a character and have them make some sort of like very difficult decision. And I'm going to put this in the chat as well. So again, 10 minutes for this one. Just writing on that prompt. Again, you don't have to use the prompt if you don't want to, but it's there for you if you need it. So 10 minutes, let's start writing now. 3.5 minutes left in this prompt. Timer, so go ahead and wrap up what you're writing. Again, if you want to post in the chat like a sentence that you wrote or how you used that prompt, or if you want to share how many words you got during that writing sprint, feel free to let us know. Right. Cool. Oh, and I saw some people in the chat asking about Blobby. So this is, for those of y'all who don't know, this is Blobby. He's a dinosaur. He's kind of the unofficial NaNoWriMo Virtual Write-In mascot. So no, he's here. He's here. He's been hanging out at my house for the past few months. But he's here, and he is cheering you on very much as you write. So I'll put him back. I'll put him back in his little corner here. Oh, right. I also see some questions in the chat about how do I access NaNoWriMo. All I'm able to do is sign in. Oh, okay, great. So for people who are new to NaNoWriMo and are wondering, like, how do I do this? I'm going to put a link in the chat, so that'll take you directly to the prompt to create a project. So basically you like create your NaNoWriMo project, um, and that will set you up. And then once November starts, so you set your time zone, and once it rolls over to midnight on November 1st in your time zone, you'll be able to update your word count. And so you'll be able to update your goal. And so in November, you'll be able to see your stats bar, and how that works. But I will drop in the link to the direct link to being able to create your project. I'm also going to real quick find the link to our help desk. So if you try that link to create a project, or if you have more questions about how NaNoWriMo works, you can reach out. You can look at our like frequently asked questions. There are usually some answers there, or you can reach out to our customer service staff member. And emails, we get a lot of emails around this time of year, so it might take a few days for them to get back to you. But here we go. Put in the link for the help desk there. All right. Hopefully that helps. Cool. So for people's writing, Molly Moyer says, "Oh dear, just got an idea for how to redo a story I did a few years ago for Nano, and I kind of love it. This is going to get me in trouble." I understand that feeling. Penumbra Mine Ward says, "I'm writing the third in my conspiracy, werewolves, and disaster series for Nano. So hard to step back in this world after being out of it for 4 years." That's great. Welcome back. Also, conspiracies and werewolves and disasters sound like a lot of fun to read. Awesome. Let's see. Imagino Stasnova says, "Bryce paced his studio. He wasn't sure whether or not he wanted to tell Edison about the other Bryce's challenge. He knew that Carter would not agree to it." Nice. Oh man. NZ Stoddart says, "My character had to make a decision to save the last survivor who is stricken with the Black Plague. That is a tough decision. Wow. Way to take that prompt and run with it." Rebecca Rolnick says, "Should the main character use her healing potion on her friend / possible romantic interest who is hurt, or save it for her dad who she's on her way to rescue, who may need it but might not?" It's a good thorny question. Oh man. Grim Nebulin, I wrote 231 words and said, "My main character had to decide if he wants to take a pill that might enhance his telepathic abilities to save a woman but risk brain damage." Wow, these are some very good tough decisions for your characters to make. Miss Kate says they're just joining. So yeah, if you're just joining, I've been putting all of the prompts, the writing prompts that we've done in the video description as well. So if you want to go back and look at those, those are there for you to view. Awesome. And every time I read these little snippets of your stories, I'm just like, I want this to be a novel right now. All right. Okay. So since it's very close to NaNoWriMo and we're getting ready to dive into it, I am curious if people have tips on kind of like getting started, or what to do if you feel stuck on something. Because I know sometimes you get so excited about a project idea, and then you start writing it and you're like, wait, I actually don't know how to start this. Or you get a few pages in and you're like, I'm stuck on this one thing. So I'm just curious if anybody has any like wisdom or inspiration that they want to share in the chat, especially like long time, like people who've done this for a long time. I know there were a bunch of people who've been doing this for like 10 years. So if you have any tips for people who are maybe trying it out for the first time, or try it and keep getting stuck, yeah, I'm curious, what are your tips for kind of getting started and keep pushing through, kind of even if you're feeling like stuck or snagged on something. Oh, Misty Kate asked, are the prompts today themed? They're sort of themed. I don't know, not really, honestly. Some of them I did mention earlier. Dune is coming out today, and our editorial intern Nautica helped put this together. So there's another Dune reference if you want there to be in the next prompt. So, but otherwise not really. It's kind of, I don't know. The couple weeks leading up to November are always feel very unreal to me somehow, because there's just so much going on. So no very tightly knit theme today. Let's see, Maya says, when I get stuck in a scene of one of my works in progress, I just move on to another scene. That's a great idea. Alexandria Burden says, buckets help here. Just put in witty comeback or a bunch of technical jargon and then move on. Specifics can wait. Keep striking while the iron is hot. That is, oh, sorry, brackets. You said brackets, not buckets. But yes, brackets, like just putting those things in brackets as you're going through, and then doing the research or the brain power needed to come up with a witty comeback later. That's very good advice. A couple of people are saying to write as much as you can early when kind of your motivation and excitement is the highest. Then you can have a little bit of leeway for maybe later in the month when you're feeling a little bit burnt out. Blue Moon says, pretend to be the characters and play out the scene in your head until you figure out what happens next. It helps me. That's a lot of fun. I like that. I say as I'm dressed up in a character costume today. So yes, I'm very pro pretending to be characters. Oh man, there's some great advice here. Messiah Dix says, take a break and read a few scenes from a novel in the same genre as yours for inspiration. That is also great. I often find when I'm reading, especially some of my favorite authors, I'm like, then I go back and I write, and I write a little bit in the flavor of how they write. So sometimes if I'm like trying to write a specific kind of scene, sometimes I won't even read the whole book. I'll like go and find a short story of theirs, or like find a scene in a novel that I really like, and I'll read it just to kind of get the way that the author that I love uses those words and how they flow. And I don't know, maybe it's just my imagination, but like I just suck it in like osmosis, and then maybe it makes its way into my own writing. Ooh, Molly Moyer says, I also usually pre-order my winner t-shirt as extra motivation to finish. I can't wear it if I don't actually win. Interesting. I love that idea. Also, a quick note about winter shirts. They are like in the queue for our printer. Like they're going to be printed very, very soon. So they will be available to buy very, very soon. Those winter shirts will be coming for people who are the winter shirt pre-order will be coming soon for people who are looking out for that. So, Ellen Stedfeld said, well, hearing buckets made me think of collecting prompts to randomly pull out of a bucket or hat. I love that idea. I'm very glad that my verbal typo helped come up with that idea. That sounds like fun. Oh man. Okay. Well, these are all so great. I want to make sure that we have enough time to get to our last writing prompt. So let's go ahead and jump into that. This one will be 10 minutes again. So like I said, when I was talking to Nautica, we were getting excited about Dune coming out. And also it rained. I'm in California, and it rained here for the first time in like 6 months this week. So that was super exciting for me. So for this last prompt, it's a little bit more of a world building prompt, but I want you to think about, what is the most precious resource for your character or in the world of your story? What is it used for? Where is it found, or how is it made, and who controls it? So in Dune, they're all about the spice, but it's also water is a super precious resource, right? Which is kind of what the rain this week made me think of. So yeah, again, 10 minutes. This will be our last writing sprint for today. What's the most precious resource in the world of your story? Let's start writing now. 3.5 minutes left in this prompt. All right, go ahead and wrap up what you're writing. That's the end of that prompt. Again, if you want to drop in the chat how you use that prompt or the number of words that you got during it, feel free to do that. I think my chat may have disconnected somehow, so apologies for that. I don't know. I was getting some weird messages about not being able to access the chat. So sorry if I can't see the chat. Oh no, there it is. Okay. Weird technical stuff. All right. Yeah, and I saw some people talking in the chat about that even though that's kind of like a world building prompt, kind of based on a sci-fi world, like it can still apply to sort of normal everyday worlds of like what does your character find the most precious, or what do they really need. Also, I love the folks in the chat who are reenacting the end of season 2 of Doctor Who. My heart. All right. Yeah, Blobby will come over to give you a hug to recover from that. Here he is. Awesome. Oh my goodness. Rebecca Leavesley says, mine's kind of creepy, but the most valuable resources is human eyes in order to build monsters. Eek. Um, that is eek, but also that's really cool and interesting. I love that. Um, oh man, this is great. All right, so we're about running out of time for today. I feel like these go so quickly every time I do them. It's so much fun to chat with y'all and get some writing in, and to have Blobby join us today. Yeah, thank you everybody so much for joining. We'll be back same time, same place, more or less next week. Fridays at 1 p.m. Pacific. We'll be doing these weekly through the end of November now. So every week, Friday at 1 p.m. Next week, our interns will be back, and we also might have some special guests for these virtual write-ins during November. So keep you up on that. Don't forget to announce your project on the NaNoWriMo website if you have not already done so. And yeah, if you have any questions about it, you can reach out to that help link that I sent in the chat, or next Thursday, also at 1 p.m. So same time that this virtual write-in happened today, but next Thursday, we're having a Zoom community hangout. So that's a chance if you want to actually talk face-to-face to some of the members of the NaNoWriMo staff and the other writers instead of just in the chat. That's a good opportunity to do that. And if you have any questions about kind of how the NaNoWriMo site works, or what's going on this year, that's a great place to ask those. So next Thursday, the all community hangout. Next Friday, we'll be doing the virtual write-in again. And then not this weekend, but the following weekend, we have our Double Up donation weekend, which is happening. So that'll be super exciting. We're getting that all lined up. We'll have more information for you about that next week. But basically, we're going to be doing some virtual events. I know Emily XR Pan, who's the author of The Astonishing Color of After, is going to be doing a webcast with us. And we'll be having a NaNoWriMo kickoff party on November 1st, and lots of awesome prizes for people who donate. So it'll be a really good opportunity to help support NaNoWriMo, the nonprofit that runs all of our events, and also do some cool, fun stuff as we start writing at the beginning of November. So yeah, I'm so excited to see y'all, and I can't wait to see you there. Good luck with your planning and your writing, and yeah, happy almost November.